at Studio 420 in Seattle, and it's about noon on Monday the 29th, the day before the revolution.
Fucking beating on the wall that says non-violence. Violence against property is not violence. You guys know you can join us, you don't have to fight us, you know.
Microsoft, Boeing, Bank of America, US Bank, Fidelity Investments, all of those companies who had their shit fucked with on that day had invested in the WTO meetings, and they paid for the meetings to be in Seattle. Like those meetings cost millions of dollars. The money came from somewhere, and it wasn't the US government. The money for those meetings came from those corporations, and that's why people targeted those corporations on that day.
I'm here because I heard 50,000 other people were going to be here, and I figured even if they're out here protesting in a way that I don't like, advocating reform or abolition of some particular institution, at least there are 50,000 people that really care and are worked up about something, and hopefully we can come out here and give them a shove in a little more radical direction. And it's a hell of an opportunity to show that the problem with the WTO is the same problem that all the institutions that fill our lives are guilty of. There's people other than ourselves in control of our lives. They just keep getting further and further away from us and more powerful. I don't care whether they're making decisions that I like or whether I hate. The fact that they're making those decisions is unhealthy and unnatural. And so I'm hoping that we can come out here and get crazy and fuck enough shit up that every city in the world knows that it can't host a WTO conference, and it better give control back to the people of their own lives, or else that city's going to be torn to pieces.
Vandalism is vandalism. Destruction is destruction, whether it's of lives or property. It's not acceptable.
What do you think of the Boston Tea Party?
I thought it was wonderful.
The fact that like someone like Bill Gates can have as much money and stuff as he does while others are starving is just so extraordinarily absurd that it should just seem obvious to everyone that we need to dismantle private property, and that begins by breaking the spell. And that's what a smashed window does.
So you can choose to either live in a soulless, wealthy colonial power like America, or you can choose to live in a colony that has been taken over by the colonial power, and now people are forced to live in company homes, work in factories with barbed wire fences around them, suck in poorly ventilated air, and produce widgets for 12 hours a day at the age of 12 for basement wages their whole lives.
You see this neighborhood as an oasis from it?
Both an oasis from it and a staging point for one part of a revolution against that whole system.
Revolutionary. Revolution is a loaded word.
It's a meaningful, significant, serious word. Yeah. And it's a word that causes a lot of us to go through a lot of personal hardships that are far more serious than the hardships, for example, suffered by the owner of the Seattle Nike store when his windows are busted out.
And I'm down here writing about the dreaded Eugene anarchists.
Yeah.
They terrify a nation and fascinate us at the same time.
They have to pretend that they can say it's from Eugene, because that way they can, arrest people, investigate people, do whatever they want, and that way they can sensationalize it and get rid of it and polarize it and reify it so that it's not a changing phenomena. But because changing tactically and building is what this is all about. And to say it's about Eugene means it's not about Portland or Seattle or any of these other places, and it discredits everything that's happening there, and it's an attempt to polarize what's happening here and slow it down.
Frankly, I'm not one who believes that property is more sacred than human beings and their ideas, and sometimes property is maybe it's not the end of the world to damage property.
It's a big debut of some people in our community, and they're on a big show, 60 Minutes.
60 Minutes is going to do what we always thought they were going to do, which is to sensationalize property destruction, and I think that's a good thing. I think we want the youth all over America thinking that this is quite the sensational way to act.
What are you thinking?
Tick, 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 tick.
I don't know.
What do you think it's going to be like?
I don't know. We had some reports from family back in the East Coast that, you know, it's some interviews, smashy, smashy, interview, smashy, smashy, interview, smashy, smashy. Either way, anarchy in the USA.
The camera's gone.
Yeah, but you still think the way you think,
No,
and
no,
I'm
no.
going to continue to speak my mind until everybody figures out what the fuck is going on.
Smash the motherfucking state.
I agree.
There's a few of the peace police are trying to stop you guys doing what you want to do, and they're saying that smashing windows is violence. What do you say to that?
I say it's fucking bullshit. The only way to hurt a corporation is financially. If by hurting a corporation financially, I mean, it would cost them $9 million worth of damage in one day, right? The only way to stop them is to hurt them monetarily. You can't put a corporation in jail. You can't put a corporation, you know, like, you can't spank a corporation. The only way to spank a corporation is by smashing the fuckers.
These are pictures of the Seattle riots that you've never seen before. They were shot on home video by the anarchists themselves. The idea was to document abuses by the police and to glorify their revolution. A revolution against the United States, against technology, against modern society. What does that get you? Smashing the windows of a Starbucks or a Nike store? What's the point?
Economic incentive to not hold meetings like that at all, much less in the Northwest, and psychological incentive to reconsider the kind of society that we live in that fills our world with Starbucks and McDonald's.
I know what was there before Planet Hollywood went in. It was a low-income apartment building. Those people were relocated, and the building was bulldozed. And who knows where they went? Nobody paid any attention. Who cares? They're homeless people now, you know? So now it's Mickey Mouse store. Now it's Nike Town. I'm not going to cry for their windows. I'm sorry.
The overreaction of some cops in Seattle gives the revolutionaries new ammunition.
Basically, the fascist underbelly of the beast has come out for everybody to see. You know, and it's even the local media, the mainstream local media, has had to take a deep breath and say, this is out of line. You know, this is uncalled for, and it was called for, actually, but in order to understand how it was called for, we have to understand what capitalism is, what capital is, who runs the show, and who the police work for, and where they get their orders from. Then we'll understand how it is called for. And we have to admit that so we know what we're up against. If we say it's uncalled for and they're out of line, then we're saying that it's just an aberration and we can reform it, and they can see the error of their ways and they will change. They won't. Power has to be seized from them.
You stare at a television and you see logos and you're in a daze, and these symbols pop up everywhere in your life. When that is shattered, it breaks a spell, and we're trying to get people to wake up before it's too late.